how legit is this happiness index report that's making the rounds on social media right now, showing India to be ranked at 136 in the world? What variables does it use to come to this conclusion, and is it a fair assessment of the ground reality? These reports and indices that the Western world throws up are based on God knows what. I don't know. I mean, if you want to measure the happiness coefficient or happiness index of a certain nation, I would expect that you would need to do a detailed survey on the ground, have a significant statistical sample of the population, not just one city, but across the length and the breadth of the country. And you would need certain scientific indices that you need to evaluate. Now, is there a universally recognized index of happiness? I mean, what is it that constitutes happiness? Is happiness a scientific thing? Can you define happiness scientifically? I think it depends from person to person. What I consider to be happiness, you may not consider that to be happiness. So, there is no scientific definition of happiness. First of all, there is no consensus in the scientific community about what constitutes happiness, what factors come when they come together, they overall define happiness and of that, right? So these people, they come up with these rankings and all that based on their whims and fancies, based on God knows what data. What is the sample they've selected to come up with this thing within India? And how many people did the survey in India? Are they surveying the same number of people in each country? Are they doing a proper scientific survey? What is the methodology? Is it based on interviews? Is it based on some other indices or data? How is it done? I have no idea. I mean, tomorrow I could come up with an index that ranks the democracies of the world according to my perception. I'm sure I could come up with a very scientific definition of what is a strong democracy and what's a weak democracy. Let's call it the Chavda index of democracy. Should I do that? I'm sure it will make a lot of people unhappy. So, that's how it is done. We don't need to take all of this seriously. The world is unfortunately very Occidentalist, very Eurocentric. It's all based upon their perception of what happiness is. I mean, these are some of the unhappiest countries in the world, the Western countries. So I don't take this seriously at all. It is not a fair assessment of the ground reality. And these indices, etc., are actually used for geopolitical purposes to paint your country as either being undemocratic or fascist or unhappy, and so on and so forth. And that is used to create certain perceptions of certain countries globally. So we should not take these things seriously.